Sigma guys have customs that are peculiar. Because they are the rarest species of people in the world, there is always something new to learn about them, from their peculiar traits to their unusual habits. For this reason, Sigma guys are often misunderstood because of the cultural shock they cause. While they may exhibit some unusual actions, they usually have legitimate reasons for doing so. You won't want to miss this, whether you're a Sigma or just interested in what makes them tick. Here are 12 strange things that only male Sigmas do that outsiders will never understand. Number 1. They are always found at the far end of the room. Because Sigma males dislike the limelight, you'll most likely find them lurking in the shadows towards the rear of the room. This will allow them to observe and conduct research without being interrupted. They don't avoid people on purpose, but they'd rather stay in the background than be the center of attention, like most alpha guys. If something unexpected happens, they can easily get out of the car by sitting in the back. It would be simple for them to leave a tedious meeting or conference without being observed. People assume they are shy or indifferent, since they don't speak up unless they have something to say. However, the truth is that they are so perceptive that they usually know more than everybody else there. Because of their reserved demeanor, you might not realize how attentive they are. They are simply gathering data and avoiding distractions by maintaining a low profile. Number 2. When faced with a salesperson that is too chatty, they will often walk out of the store. When Sigma men are out shopping, they like not to be harassed. They would rather think things through and make a choice on their own. Sure, occasionally they will ask for clarification, but otherwise they prefer to work things out on their own. If a salesperson follows them throughout the store, trying to strike up a conversation, they may feel harassed to the point where they leave without making a purchase. It's a necessary evil, but they'd still rather be left alone if given the choice. They are turned off by salespeople who try to convince them to buy by bombarding them with information or applying undue pressure. Sigma guys value efficiency above everything else, so if a store's sales tactics turn them off, they'll simply go elsewhere to buy what they need. If you're trying to sell anything to a Sigma, you should go right to the point and provide them with all the information they need to make an informed decision. They will inquire for more details if they are interested in doing so. Number 3. Praises aren't always well received by them. Sigma males aren't the type to be impressed by compliments. Of course, it's lovely to hear praise for a job well done, but compliments can backfire if they come across as a trap or are poorly delivered. Many Sigmas are incredibly modest people who don't want the praise of others to feel good about themselves, since they already know their value. They are also turned off by those who try to flatter them in exchange for something, as Sigmas are adept at seeing through such tactics. Despite their positive intent, compliments are often met with resistance from many Sigma males. Most of them are already confident in their intelligence. What encourages them is when others take their advice. It's fine to commend a Sigma every once in a while, but do so sparingly. If you constantly shower them with compliments, a Sigma may stop taking them seriously. Number 4. They take a detour around the ladmouth by switching lanes. To put it bluntly, Sigma males hate it when others make a big deal out of nothing. They never seem to know when to shut up and are constantly attempting to grab everyone's attention with their babbling. Their presence is offensive due to their volume and obnoxiousness. If they start talking to one of these folks, getting out of the conversation will be a major hassle. So they cross the street or go around them if they can. Time is precious, and Sigma males would rather not waste it on people who are a drain on their vitality. They're not antisocial per se, they just enjoy conversing with others they share interests with. Many people mistakenly assume that all Sigma males are snobs because of this behavior. But the truth is that Sigmas despise small talk and anything else that feels like a waste of time. We've all met that person who talks about themselves all the time. Sigmas usually try to stay away from such people. Number 5. They don't wear a constant grin. It's a common misconception that Sigma males are too serious to ever smile, but that's not always the case. For some reason, they don't think it's necessary to always be cheery. This doesn't mean they're miserable or having a bad time. Sigmas are simply more introspective than the average person. The urge to constantly and visibly show one's feelings isn't something that drives them. They appear distant and aloof, yet they're actually just contemplating something deeply. They take in information and thoughts privately and analyze them internally. A Sigma is completely happy in the present without needing to show anyone else that he is happy about it by smiling. Sigma males tend to be more introverted and reticent than their alpha male counterparts. There's a chance they'll avoid answering their phone, which brings us to point number 6. Number 6. Many Sigma males would rather let calls go to voicemail or just ignore them. Sigma males prefer to communicate via text or in person since it is quicker and there is no need for small talk. They are not big on small talk and would rather get right to the point. While this may come off as disrespectful to others, it is really a personal preference. Sigma males are not intentionally rude, they simply prefer not to engage in constant telephone conversation. If it's urgent, they'll get back to you right away, otherwise they won't waste their time. Don't take it personally if a Sigma doesn't answer your call. It's not that he dislikes you. He just has his own priorities and can't be bothered to rearrange his schedule for you. Therefore, the easiest way to contact a Sigma is to send him a text message. This will let him respond when it is convenient for him. Number 7. They despise being left alone with melodramatic or dull people. A Sigma's worst nightmare is to be trapped in a room with a person who never stops griping about how terrible their life is. We have too little time and too much energy spent on negative people. Sigma guys like to hang out with interesting, motivating, and funny people. They like to stay out of sticky situations because they have a need to maintain command over their surroundings. They prefer not to spend time with those who are dependent on them. Taking into account that Sigmas are typically successful and don't want anything or anyone to disrupt their development, this seemingly chilly way of viewing the world actually makes perfect sense. Number 8. When the doorbell rings, they act as if they're not there. In general, Sigma guys are so skilled at keeping a low profile that they frequently ignore knocks on the door. If they don't recognize the visitor, they can make it seem like they're out of the house. They may do this for privacy reasons or to avoid having to deal with pushy salespeople. That doesn't make them paranoid, they just appreciate their own space more than the average person. Whenever they're trying to concentrate on anything or are just not in the mood to chat, they may resort to this strategy to avoid interruptions. Though it may come across as nasty, it's actually a very astute technique to prevent any interruptions. Usually, being ignored is something people take personally, but Sigma males don't care. It's not that they mean any disrespect. They just can't spare the time for small talk. Number 9. They are selective in their disclosures. Sigmas are selective about who they let into their inner circle, preferring instead to confide in those who have earned their trust. They prefer to keep to themselves and rarely let others in on personal details. That's because they've learned the hard way that not everybody deserves their trust. They've been hurt before by those they thought could be trusted, so they're wary of letting anyone close. When it comes to friendships, they'd value quality over quantity. While Sigma males are devoted friends and will do anything for their loved ones, they are also capable of severing ties with anyone they deem damaging. Although this won't happen frequently, when it does, the Sigma won't hesitate to move forward. Number 10. Having some time to themselves is how they recharge their batteries. Sigma guys, in contrast to alpha males, don't need to be the center of attention or have lots of friends to feel fulfilled. Sometimes they need time alone to refuel after being in social situations for too long. This contributes to the stereotype that they are loners. In other words, individuals can find fulfillment and contentment without the help of others. Being alone is fine with Sigmas. They can find peace and quiet in the outdoors or with their own thoughts. This is due to the fact that they are able to relax and take a break from the hectic pace of life. This allows them to declutter their brains and return to the fray in top form. In contrast to popular belief, Sigmas actually benefit from spending time alone. It gives them a chance to refresh and return in top form. Number 11. They wait for their neighbor to go before heading out. Sigma males, on the other hand, would rather have a bit of space between them and their neighbors. They value their independence and are offended when they are made to feel invasive. People tend to wait a few minutes after seeing a neighbor leave before heading out themselves. This in no way indicates that they dislike their neighbors or are antisocial. Rather, they are simply exhausted by the barrage of incessant inquiries each time they encounter them. The last thing you want when you're in a rush and just want to get on with your day is to have a long, dull conversation about your job, the weather, or anything else you really don't care about. Number 12. Rather than take part, they would rather sit back and watch. While this may be seen negatively by others, Sigmas actually thrive when they're able to step back and watch. They prefer to observe interactions between others rather than take part in themselves, for the simple reason that they enjoy learning about what drives other people at work. Rather than being in the thick of things, they'd rather take a backseat and observe. Although this is true, it doesn't mean that Sigma isn't interested in taking part in events. They just like to do so on their own terms. They don't enjoy being coerced into doing anything and would rather know all the facts before acting. There's a good reason why humans have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Males of the Sigma fraternity take this credo to heart and would rather hear about the experiences of others than boast about their own. Listening to and observing other people's body language can tell them a lot about who they are and what they need or want.